This is the Footbrawl Podcast with your hosts, Tyler, Andy, and Boyer.
Welcome back to Mantasy Footbrawl Podcast, presented by two of your performance-enhancing dads. And then we got Charlie. What's happening, guys?
Not much.
What up? This is my second podcast of the day.
Thanks for joining us, Charlie.
I'd ask which one's more important, but we won't talk about it because I'd hate to offend your other podcast.
Oh, no. But I also know who's the more important twin because I know who you asked first.
Ooh, I sent him and Fryer one at the same time, and then I resended Fryer's after you
Making
sent
it worse, Ty.
Okay, so I'm rich. So I'm all right. The pecking order.
Listen, I just started hitting people. Me and your brother were already talking about trades in another league, so I just hit him up, and I was like, "Hey, I've got you."
He's backpedaling.
I was actually on the phone with Paul when you messaged me. We're in separate places right now, and I was like, I'm going to be on the podcast today. And Paul's like, "Yeah, they asked me first," and I'm like, "Oh."
I was already talking to him, so
kidding.
that doesn't
I'm
count.
not offended at all.
I'm offended. All right.
Ratted you out.
On that, we have no booby jokes to start. We have no milk to start. So we're gonna roll into last week's matchups. Colin versus me. I grabbed the win at 89 versus 85 for Colin. Both of us tried to lose that matchup. Chubb going down definitely didn't hurt, or definitely didn't help me. But I still was able to squeak it out. Yeah, well, Fryermuth was not good, but it's fine. Luckily, Olave didn't outscore my team, so we're good there. Andy, I believe we all took me because Eckler didn't start.
Yep, that is correct.
Perfect. If Eckler started, he probably beats me.
Yeah, the way this shook out, I honestly, for as close as this one looks, it wasn't close until Ty's team shut the bed Monday night and Olave did what he was supposed to, bringing it pretty close, but it was not this close all weekend.
Yeah. So, all right, next matchup. Jeremy beats Paul 89 to 88. This game was a shit show on Monday night. Njoku fumbles. Watson has a couple turnovers. If any of those turnovers don't happen, any of those three don't happen, Jeremy loses by 0.7. But because all of these turnovers happen, Jeremy pulls out the win. Jeremy goes to 2-0. Paul goes to 0-2. Rough turn of events there. So who did we have in that one, Andy?
Clean sweep. We all picked Jay.
All right, 2 for 2. The next one, we have Chris versus the duo. The duo put up 106. Chris put up 86. No need to talk about that one. Duo took him down handily. Most of the duo's guys did what they were supposed to do. Andy, who did we take in that one?
3 for 3 on the duo. We're doing well.
All right.
Wait till you get to my matchup.
Well, you were supposed to go 13-0, so come on. We have Cowboys D take Mahomes. Sorry, I just have to say it every time. Put up 120. Second high score of the week. Beats Andy 120 to 80. Walker's team just on a tear these first couple weeks. Cowboys defense put up 15 this week. The rest of his team put up 20 points apiece. Just did what they had to do plus some. So how did this matchup look this week, Andy?
We all picked Walker. So I'm 10 for 10 at this point. We could just stop here.
We could just stop here.
I wonder who's going to ruin it for you.
Next, we have Robbie versus Boyer. Robbie puts up 128, high score of the week, taking $5 from our guest here, Mr. Charlie. Appreciate you ponying up $5. Robbie puts up 128. Boyer puts up 101 and gets a rough loss. He would have beaten all but 4 teams this week, but he gets the loss. He goes to 0-2. What was our predictions this week, Andy?
We all picked Boyer.
I almost didn't, and then I did.
Yep, there you go thinking again.
Shouldn't have done that. Charlie, do you want to tell me what happened in this last game?
No, we can go to week 3.
We just go to week 3. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So Charlie puts up 52 points. Fryer puts up 104.
That's
and
double.
What Jeremy called. Jeremy, Mr. Commish, called the blowout of the week. I think he thought it was going to be a blowout the opposite direction, but it wasn't. So Fryer, great work. Put up 104. Charlie put up 52. Not a great week for Charlie. Andy, what were our picks on this one?
Boyer's the only one got that one right. So you and I had 4 right on the week. Boyer had 5. Cumulative, I've got 10. You and Boyer have 9.
All right, keeping it close.
Yep, usually is.
No, that's not true. I'm normally way behind.
I mean, by like 3.
That's fair. All right. Andy has some trivia for us again. Hopefully, this week Charlie can help me with some trivia because last week it did not go well.
Yep.
So, Andy, hit me with some trivia here. Still haven't studied this.
This one might be more doable. I'm going to let you try to take a stab at multiple names here, so you'll at least get some points. But I'm going to start off with the easy one. Who's number 1 in fantasy points right now?
Like all positions, quarterback included.
Everything.
You want to stab?
Figured this one would be easy.
I'm gonna have to stab.
I'll go Patrick Mahomes.
Justin Herbert.
No, and no. Number 1 fantasy points, 52 points through the first 2 weeks so far. Cowboys defense. The highest quarterback would be number 2. I'm not going to tell you who it is because that's part of the next question. Sitting on 45 points. So the Cowboys D has 7 points on the next highest scorer on the year.
Well, Justin Herbert only has 44 or 42. He's got a 22.
You're giving Charlie answers to the next question.
Well, he's not the number 1 scoring quarterback, is what I'm saying.
Then, okay, let's go to the next question. Name the 5 quarterbacks with more than 40 points so far.
Yes.
Herbert is one of them.
Yes.
Tua is another.
Dan Jones. Because he put up 30 this week. So if he's not over 40, I'm gonna be shocked.
I don't think he got more than 10 in the first. In the first against, right? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he did.
This is
Charlie.
fun for me, guys.
Charlie, are you really gonna do me like that?
Oh, well, aren't we working as a team right now?
Yeah,
You
but I
can't.
still think did he really not put up 10? He might not have.
4.5 in the first week, baby. Dan Jones not there.
I
All
was
right,
gonna
so
say
Charlie wins that one. We won't put Dan Jones in the top 5.
Charlie does not win that one because Tua only has 39.4 points. Tua also not in the top 5.
Josh Allen. Josh Allen had a rough week.
Josh Allen had a rough week 1. He only has 32.7 because he only put up 9 points in week 1.
Matt Stafford.
You guys are bad at this. It's
Matt
impressive.
Stafford?
yeah, this is embarrassing.
Stat Matford.
I-
Also no, Stat Matford only has 1 touchdown on the year. He's only got 28 points. This is a lot more fun than I thought it would be.
I was gonna say Anthony Richardson, but I think he's at like 38.
Richardson is a good guess because he has 3 rushing touchdowns and 2 concussions. He is at 38 though.
What about Dak? Dak should be in there, right?
Dak.
No,
Or is it all
he had
Cowboys
like 8
defense?
points in week 1.
Yeah, Dak is 26 points.
All right, go ahead. Just give us the top 5 because
Okay, well you should have got number 1 is Kirk Cousins.
Oh,
Everybody
geez,
knows
yeah.
Kirk Cousins.
I was
is
just looking
killing
at
it for
Kirk
Colin.
Cousins too.
Number 2, Jordan Love, the only other quarterback besides Cousins that has 6 touchdown passes so far. Number 3, Justin Herbert. Number 4, Russell Wilson. And then number 5, Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, but Russell Wilson also had a bad week, so I'm confused on where this is all going. Like you're like, oh, all these guys have bad weeks. Dan Jones put up 30 and sucked week 1. I don't know. He should be over 40 points. That guy sucks.
So which of these was a bad week, Ty? Week 1, Wilson had 177 yards and 2
That's not good.
touchdowns. That's 15
177
points.
yards is not good.
I mean, it's not the 5 points that Dan Jones put up that you thought
You're
was
right.
decent.
That's because Dan Jones turned the ball over 6 times week 1. Come on, leave me
Right.
alone.
And then last week, Wilson had 26 points. He had 308 3 touchdowns, and he also put up 56 yards on the ground. So
That's fair.
yeah. All right.
Listen, you're asking dumb questions, asking questions that I know.
Hey, you guys
I've been
got
so busy I've not
Justin
been
Herbert,
focused.
so you're at 1 so far.
I said
didn't
Patrick
know.
Mahomes in the first one.
You're right.
I
So
knew Justin Herbert at 42. That's a spot on. I nailed that one. I study a person.
it's not going as well as I thought it would, asking who the top players at each position are. But that's why it's only been 2 weeks. Okay.
Well, wait, I will say this. I was off the grid on Sunday after 1:30. So I needed to catch up on my fantasy. I feel like if I was watching Red Zone, it like my memory would have like, you know what I mean? But I had to like go back and be like, what happened in the 3:00 games? What happened at the end of the noon games? So that's my excuse. What's yours, Ty?
Yeah, just
He's
work
just
has
bad
kicked
at
my ass
this.
the last 2 weeks. Normally, I'm good at trivia. Work has kicked my ass the last 2 weeks. I work at a church. I can't say ass. Sorry, YouTube. I can't say ass.
Sorry, YouTube. Okay,
All right,
let's move to tight end. All right, so tight end 3, I'll give to you
Njoku
for
fumbled.
free. Hold on. Tight end 3 is Logan Thomas with 12.5 points. Tight end 3 has 12.5 points. That's how bad tight end is right now.
Yeah.
The 2 tight ends above him both have more than 20 points. Name both of them. Either of them. Try hard.
Well, Hawkinson is 1.
Hawkinson is 1. That was the easy one.
Yes. I can tell you it is not Kyle Pitts.
It's not Kyle Pitts. It's also not Dallas Goedert. For what it's worth, Hawkinson is tight end 2.
It's Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is Hunter
in
Henry.
the first 2 weeks. Each of the first 2 weeks. He's only got 108 yards, which is 7 more yards than Hawkinson has. So Hunter Henry has 22.8. Hawkinson has 22.1. Good work, Ty.
See, I do know things.
Hey, you knew one thing. All right, last question. And this one's multiple choice, so maybe that'll help.
Maybe Dallas defense.
Not Dallas defense. All right, which of these wide receivers is not in the top 10 in fantasy points right now? Top 10 wide receiver points. Jordan Addison, Brandon Ayuk, Kendrick Bourne, Nico Collins, Josh Reynolds. Of those 5 gentlemen, 4 of them are top 10.
Wait, say the first 2 again.
Jordan Addison, Brandon Ayuk, Kendrick Bourne, Nico Collins, Josh Reynolds.
Brandon Ayuk's not.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ayuk got banged
up. He
up.
had a terrible week.
Actually, wait. No, I'm gonna say Jordan Addison.
Nope, he had a good week 1.
No, but
you don't have to agree. I'm not gonna make you agree.
I'm not agreeing.
I'm gonna say Addison because I think Ayuk only had like I think put up more. He had such a monster week 1 that I think his whatever he even got in week 2, which was like 5 points, I think is still above what Jordan Addison got in 2.
Yeah, so you're both wrong. Charlie is a little bit right because Ayuk is 4 points ahead of Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison is number 10 on the list. Brandon Ayuk, even with the limited playing time, is wide receiver 5 on the year with 29 points. But the one outside of this list is Kendrick Bourne. He's way down at like wide receiver 17 or something. Had a really good week 1 and then did absolutely nothing in week 2.
I don't follow that guy very closely. I wasn't sure what he did.
So yeah, which means Josh Reynolds is a number 9 wide receiver right now, and Nico Collins is number 7.
I knew Nico Collins was a.
Yeah, I mean Nico had a really good week this past week, but I don't know. He's only got 28 points. He's only got half as many points as the Cowboys defense. I don't know if that's top 10 wide receiver or not.
Say that again.
I said he's only got half as many points as the Cowboys defense. I don't know if that's top 10 or
not. He helped me beat Colin Kelly this week. That's all that matters.
He did, and that's true. All right, that's all I got. That is trivia. Good
That
job
was
getting
terrible.
some things. See,
That
you guys
was
don't
bad.
even know who the good fantasy players are right now.
I'm 2-0 in fantasy. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah,
2-0 and 2-0 into my division. Leave me alone.
that boy.
I win fantasy games. That's what matters. Until this week.
Hey, you handcuffed, so you're all right.
And
All
he got
right.
another handcuff too.
Yeah,
Should we
smart.
break down the
Oh,
trade?
yeah, go. Ty, you host it down to Charlie.
Charlie, go ahead and jump us into that trade and talk about my handcuffs and stuff. Yeah, that's great. What happened with the
You
trade?
like, yeah, big blockbuster.
Whew.
Andy essentially needed Kadarius Toney in his lineup today or this week, and Ty didn't.
I've been telling Ty to play him every week. He keeps not doing it, and it's pissing me off. So I'm like, fine, I'll do it.
But can you let him finish what the trade was? Come on, man.
The 1-for-1.
Yep.
Yeah. Picked up Elijah Mitchell as my handcuff to CMC. Let's just pray nothing happens to CMC because I can't take another Chubb here.
That was brutal.
Terrible.
That poor fucking guy.
No.
Did you see obviously the reaction, like the sound of the Steelers fans? Just that was almost worse than watching the actual video.
Yeah, the clip of the announcers being like, "Yeah, we're not gonna show the replay," and then the crowd's all like, "Oh!"
It was a collective gasp. It wasn't just like, man, that was terrible.
Yeah. Nothing brings the sports world together like a blown out knee.
Andy, how did you know that this was the year that Chubb was not going to be available for you?
Good question. I didn't. What I did know was that Bijan is going to be the number 1 running back in the league by probably a good 30 or 40 points. So I went that direction because I like that better than less points. I didn't know it would be this much less points.
Fair.
Well, you would have known that if you knew that I was drafting them.
True.
Then you
maybe this is all my fault. I didn't draft Chubb. He ended up on Ty's team, and that was the curse.
I was bidding up you with Bijan, so you could let me have him. Maybe he'd be injured, and then Chubb would be okay. I don't know. Either way,
I was not going to let anyone have Bijan.
All right, let's move on to my favorite segment. What are you drinking?
Oh, I didn't hear the pow.
Yeah, cut.
Pow.
It cut.
Pow.
Ice Mountain.
Mountain water.
Green
Andy,
cup.
Is that not your White Sox one? So you're actually having a drink? Or are you drinking out?
No, this is water. The White Sox one was dirty. The kids were playing with it. This is just smaller. Still water. Still ice. Are you drinking milk and beer again?
Oh my gosh.
I'm drinking one for each of us.
Attaboy.
Wow, work
you,
really has been kicking your butt.
Somebody's got to do it because none of my other hosts are putting them down. Jeez.
So does this mean that that the Coors checks stopped coming in?
It was there's like a $5 off coupon or something if we bought a 24 pack of Miller Lite at Target. So Steph bought that instead of Coors.
Coupon, aka new sponsor that Boyer and I are never going to see any money from.
Yeah, I got that $5 mail-in rebate. Come on,
More than we've ever seen.
Speaking of Boyer, I've made the same amount of appearances on the podcast this year than he has.
Yeah, he's dealing with some stuff. I think Annie's grandpa passed away last week, and they had a bunch of they had a bunch of like out of town in-laws in his house that he was dealing with. So I think he's taking a much needed rest following all of that craziness. But
much love, Boyer.
He's taken a short-term leave of absence. So
yeah. He's mourning his 0-2 start, I think, is probably mostly what he's doing.
We'll be hosting interviews for our next guest. If anybody wants to appear next week, maybe Charlie will appear again. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Not now that I know where I am on the totem pole, I think this is going to be my last. No, I'm kidding.
All right. Well, this host is out. I'll see you guys later.
Actually, hopefully the next time I'm on here is when you're interviewing the champion at the end of the year.
All right. So, Andy, you heard that he doesn't
Wrong
want to be able
start.
to get back until the end of the year.
That's
All
what I
right.
mean.
Although I probably shouldn't be saying that because I have the fewest points for out of any team right now.
Yeah, but I was told you were going to go 13-0, man. Come on. We had that argument.
Ty, you said that because everyone was down your throat. The after the draft podcast, you said 13-0.
You're the
No
only one
else
who's
did.
ever said 13-0.
And I'm riding with it.
Well, I'm already. The under has already hit.
All right. On this, I'm done. I'm off of it. We're moving on to week 3. Let's see what happens. If you follow the podcast nicely, you would know where we start. So, Andy, let's start with you.
All right, fine, but I'm starting with Jeremy. This is the only way I can take back some of the power.
That's fair. You start with Jeremy.
All right.
Start with Jeremy's team.
Jeremy doesn't have a defense he's going to lose. Next.
Boom. Nailed it.
All right. Jeremy's got what's the deal with Amon-Ra? It's just a cramps thing.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
I haven't heard any follow-ups if he's been practicing. I guess it's only Tuesday. So I don't expect that to be an issue. But yeah, Jeremy's got Kyron Williams currently slotted in after I think having him on the bench last week. Javonte on the bench. Then he's got Lockett in the flex. Nobody else on the bench. Maybe Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is getting some looks, but hasn't gotten the touchdowns. It's been about 60 yards a week, so I don't think that he's in the conversation here.
What about wide receiver 17, Kendrick Bourne?
Yeah, I don't believe in that. So I think I'm leaving Lockett in. Yeah, that too. You guys lean a different way. Javonte has gotten 13 and 12 carries. He's getting catches, but it's not a PPR league, and the yardage just hasn't been there for him. He's looked a step slow, and they've been kind of content to let Russ throw it. And I'm okay with sitting Javonte for the time being until you see it. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I'd agree with you. The only way I'm changing it is if Amon-Ra cramps, something goes wrong, and then you're moving Lockett, pulling Williams in. But otherwise, I'm leaving it the same.
Yep,
cool.
Agreed.
All right, let's kick it over to Ty. Ty's newly minted starter, Jerome Ford, which I pointed out before we started the podcast, already has more points than Nick Chubb, so consider it an upgrade, Ty. Akers doesn't have a new team yet, so he's probably not playing. I don't see anybody on your bench that you're putting into your starting lineup, although you could be making a move to drop Chubb, obviously, and maybe address something. Probably just depth-wise, though. I don't know that there's any big free agent acquisition this week to be going out and get like there was last week. So looks like these lineups are pretty locked in.
Yeah, I mean, I got a waiver in for Beretta, but even then I don't know if I'm starting him over Nico Collins at this point.
Yeah, I don't think you are. Nico Collins is top 10 guy.
Right. We learned about that.
I do want to call out some of the shit I've been reading this week. You know how everybody and their mom puts out these are the guys you should pick up this week, and these are the players that you can cut and whatever. I've seen Cam Akers on the go ahead and cut him list for 3 or 4 different ones that I was skimming through today. That is such awful advice. I can't even believe that these people put their shit on the internet. Cam Akers, they're actively shopping him. No, they're not going to play him until he moves, but they're going to move him and get what they can get for him. And the team that goes and gets him is probably going to be a needy team, whether that's Miami or the Colts, if they're thinking that Taylor's not coming back, or the Browns or whoever.
Minnesota even possibly.
Yeah, and
hey, easy.
Whatever it may be, he's gonna go somewhere and probably have a role. So dropping him before we know what's happening is absolutely awful advice. I don't think Ty's doing that, but I just wanted to call out that bullshit that I've been reading today. Oh, Ty's frozen again. Ty, fix your internet.
Right, Ty? Great. It
right.
reminds me of the pre-draft advice where you have a bunch. It's like, these are my must draft players, and then it's like Rashad White, and it's just like, all right, like, why is he your must draft player? Like, they don't ever provide reasons. It's always just like, these are the guys that I targeted in all my drafts this year, and it's like, great. And then their reasoning, even when they explain it, is terrible.
This guy is on a team, and the other guy that was on the team left. Therefore, good, Madison.
All right, so who are we taking in this matchup?
I need you to win, man.
Yeah, this is a matchup of two 2-0 teams, so an undefeated will fall here. I think I'm leaning toward Jeremy. This is close though. Obviously McCaffrey is a huge advantage for Ty. But the rest of Jeremy's team just feels a little bit more well-rounded. Dotson's been a bummer. Freiermuth's been a bummer. And if those things continue, it's gonna be hard to keep up with Jeremy's team. Jeremy's just got a very solid team. So I'm gonna go that way.
Yeah, I agree. Ty, it honestly comes down to Jeremy's receivers are significantly better than yours, and his running backs are kind of equal. So I agree. I got Jer.
I agree with you guys that Jeremy should win this one, but I'm gonna go with the hope and a prayer of my team, and I'm gonna lose this one, but I'm picking my team this week because I've got to have some faith to beat this other goofy Reed guy.
Yeah, I mean CMC could do it by himself, so I'm not counting you out by any means. But just looking at your side versus his, I prefer Jeremy's.
No, I agree. but I'm taking my side. And what
I'll be rooting for you. I will very much be rooting for you.
Well, I got no dog in this fight.
Yeah.
Who's Boyer taking here?
Boyer also took Jeremy. So 3 out of the 4 of us get the right answer probably.
I mean, I don't blame you. So let's go there. All right. Charlie, if you wouldn't mind, take us to Chris versus Walker.
Sure.
Sure.
All right. I'll start with Walker. Mahomes. We got AJ Brown, Deebo Samuel, Najee. What is going on there? How much did he go for in the draft? 40, 45?
40 something. I think 41 maybe. Somewhere in that range.
I mean, really, that isn't awful for Najee, but his production is not there.
Well, I was making up for it with
not
Brian
for nothing.
Robinson.
The Niners and the Browns both are pretty good defenses. So maybe going against Vegas and Houston these next 2 weeks, things change. But the volume hasn't been there, and Najee's lived and died by the volume in his first 2 years. So
right.
He's making up for it with Brian Robinson.
No
I
kidding.
think, is he the number 1 running back right now?
RB2 behind McCaffrey.
Okay. All right. So we got Hunter Henry, DJ Moore. The only thing I might be considering here is swapping DJ Moore for Michael Pittman. Thoughts?
I think I'm leaving DJ Moore in. It was nice to see him get the looks and the production against Tampa. You gotta assume the Bears are gonna be down and throwing for the entirety of the game against the defending Super Bowl champs this weekend. So I don't know that I'm taking DJ Moore out. I like Pittman just fine, but I do think that he's a solid bit below DJ Moore in my eyes this week.
I also should have prefaced that by saying if Anthony Richardson plays.
That's also fair.
Right. And that's what I was going to say is if Richardson plays, Pittman's had 11 targets, 12 targets, 8 catches in both games. So you can say the volume is going to be there for DJ Moore. but the volume's been there for Pittman. And if they continue to give him 10 targets and he catches 6 to 8 of them, I'm going to put Pittman in. Baltimore's defense is decent. Kansas City's defense is also decent. So the defensive matchup I'm not as concerned about. I think if Richardson's playing, I'm going to take the shot on Pittman.
Hypothetical, if Kareem Hunt signs with Cleveland, do you even consider him for Najee?
No, I'm not starting
so.
Kareem Hunt if he finds a home this week.
I don't think so either, but the fact that he already played in Cleveland feels like it could be a seamless step in, but I wouldn't touch it. Let's see. What about Chris here? Trevor Lawrence, Tyreek Hill, Mike Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, Raheem Mostert, Luke Musgrave, James Cook, George Pickens on the bench. What do we feel about that? I actually kind of agree. I actually don't know if I would swap out Mike Williams for George Pickens in this one. So I kind of like the way his lineup is right now. I mean, Minnesota's defense is bad.
Vegas's defense isn't great either, though.
Right, but I trust Herbert to get the ball more than I do Kenny to Pickens.
So the other thing I would say is your other possibility is, and I know it's probably an unpopular opinion, Atlanta's defense isn't great, but you could sit Gibbs and move Cook up and then throw Pickens in your flex. Probably not the case. But Gibbs really hasn't been much this year yet.
Yeah.
But Montgomery's out this week. So maybe this is Gibbs' week to go off, and you really don't want that on your bench. So I don't think you're going to make that move, but that would be my other option, would be possibly benching Gibbs for a week. But against Atlanta, I don't think that's the one you want to give up the possibility of a big game.
Yeah, I think I would lean slightly toward Pickens over Mike Williams, but not strongly. It's a coin flip. I'm leaving Gibbs in there, but I will say I felt like in my heart that is attuned to fantasy football at this time of year, seeing what DeAndre Swift did on Thursday night, I thought for sure the Lions were going to come out and be like, look, we didn't piss away a good player for nothing and lose draft pick capital in the process. We got a guy who's also very good. Look at our shiny new toy, and just roll out Gibbs for the world and give him 20 touches. And that didn't happen, which was very surprising to me. So apparently they're going to bring him along in their own time, but who knows when that's going to be. But I don't feel strongly enough about Pickens to bench Gibbs. I prefer the running backs in the standard league, and Gibbs has been getting looks. I like Pickens a lot. I like Mike Williams a lot. I'm still leaving Gibbs in over both of them.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I
like I said, I think that's the right call. Gibbs is just
an
been
option.
The one who struggled the most.
Anthony Richardson, if he plays, do you consider him over Trevor Lawrence?
No.
Probably
not the way he's been playing.
No, T-Law's been good, and Baltimore's front line's been good.
Trevor Lawrence, what do you mean he's been good? He has 27 points. 26.
Yeah, I was really disappointed with the performance against the Chiefs. I figured that was going to be a shootout or close to it, and it was nowhere near that.
Right.
But, I mean, you've seen Richardson leave early in both of the first two games because of the way he's playing, and sure, it's working for fantasy stats, but you don't know if he's going to leave in the first quarter, if he's going to leave in the fourth quarter, and until that shakes itself out a little bit and he learns how to slide and not lead with his head, we're going to be dealing with this issue, and Lord knows concussions can compound over time, so hopefully he gets that coached out of him pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think this could be a Trevor Lawrence a big game.
He
Calvin
needs
Ridley,
it.
please. All right, I'm gonna take Chris in this one.
I can't do it.
I can't either. I
Go
like
for it.
Chris's team, but I like Walker's team more.
I to be honest with you, I will take the risk with Najee Harris and the flex with DJ Moore and or Pittman. I'm Hunter Henry, we just talked about, is a good tight end. He's had 2 touchdowns first couple weeks. Musgrave is Gibbs hasn't been great. Cook can be hit or miss. Washington's front line is actually pretty solid. So I don't know what Cook's going to be this week. I think there's enough question marks on Chris's team that Walker still, and Dallas's defense against Arizona, the defense is going to lead the league again this week.
Yeah. Walker
I can't
currently
go
has
against
the
them.
number 1 defense, the number 1 kicker, the number 1 tight end, the number 2 running back, and Pat Mahomes. So,
All signs of a regression.
I mean, I agree with that, but
It can't go up.
it's still a really good team.
Like Hunter Henry is the top tight end. I think Brian Robinson too. Like that, he's been kind of carrying the running back load for. I just don't think he's going to get that with Buffalo, and I don't think the upside for Najee this week is enough to shoulder the lack of production that Walker has gotten outside of B-Rob. So
Yeah. That's
I
fair.
just think there's a
I
lot
just
more
don't see
touchdown
enough on
equity with Chris.
Chris's side to. He's going to need players to pop because I assume that Mahomes is going to embarrass the Bears. It's not like the Chiefs are known for running the ball a lot. So, maybe Pacheco has 150 and 2, but it's probably going to be Mahomes getting 404 against our shit team. So then you got to dig yourself out of that hole. Plus, whatever Elliott and Cowboys defense do, even if Henry's quiet and Najee's quiet and B-Rob's quiet, like there's still enough on Walker's team, in my opinion.
All right, Walker, you got a good team. I think Charlie's the only one going against you. Who did Boyer take?
Boyer took Walker.
All right. So the 3 PEDs are taking Walker. And then there's Charlie. All right. Charlie,
I actually feel very confident in that one.
If you didn't learn from the first 2 weeks, you just pick with Andy, and most of the time you're right.
10 out of 12 so far, baby.
Yeah, you suck. You were perfect the first week.
I know.
All right, we're gonna go over to Paul versus Robbie. To get off that matchup. Paul's team. He doesn't have another quarterback, but he still has Deshaun Watson. So might be something he should be looking at on waivers. By the time this comes out, we'll know if that is adjusted or not. Your guys' thoughts on starting Watson versus finding somebody else right now?
I mean, Tennessee's a good matchup for Deshaun.
Yeah, Tennessee secondary is really bad. So
I
think
I
ride
don't
with it.
think I don't think Deshaun has been as poor as, like, there are definitely opportunities for him to pop on any given week. Like, his floor is high enough where he's not unstartable. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
Yeah.
Just, with how last week went, I have to at least throw out the conversation of is
But
there
like he also has the ceiling to, like, steal you a week, it just hasn't happened yet.
And that's why Paul's 0-2 still. He hasn't stolen any weeks yet. Jefferson and Adams at wide receiver, you're starting them. Mixon, Herbert at running back, Pacheco in the flex, Njoku at tight end. He's got Laporta on the bench. Are you guys just leaving Njoku in? He's gotten the targets. Laporta's got 5 receptions each game. Preference on Njoku versus Laporta here.
I'm putting Laporta in at this point.
I would agree.
I think so too. I think the only reason you leave Joku in is if you feel like you need the stack to increase the, I don't know, if Tennessee's secondary is so bad, is this the week he finally gets a touchdown? If Deshaun goes off, I don't know, but I agree. I think Laporta is the better option, but I could see a route to starting or keeping the stack.
Yeah, Laporta's got Atlanta though, and Atlanta's secondary isn't all that great either.
Yeah.
Pacheco and his flex. Marquise Brown is on his bench. Gabe Davis is on his bench. I'm not starting either of those over Pacheco.
Would you
Any
start
thoughts
either of them
guys?
over Khalil Herbert?
Probably not, because eventually Herbert should get more touches and more yards, but I don't know what the hell the Bears are right now. But I also, Gabe Davis is only going to have 3 or 4 blow up weeks, and then that's it. I mean, he's not consistent. At least he hasn't been. Marquise Brown, I would say, is your chance, but he's got Dallas defense.
Yeah.
So I can't rightfully say that either of those are a good option this week over Herbert or Pacheco.
Yeah, I think if I was gonna make a switch, it would be Hollywood over Herbert. I think I'm leaving it, but it's close.
Deontay sitting on IR doesn't look great right now.
Yeah, that is a bummer.
Because that's who you would easily slide in for Herbert right now.
For sure.
So, all right. New England defense versus the Jets, Miami versus Denver. Not Miami versus Denver.
Yeah, keeping the Patriots in.
Yeah, I would agree. He's got lots of at least decisions to be made over there. Moving over to Robbie's side. You're not starting Derek Carr over Prescott, so we're gonna skip over that. You got
Why
Hopkins.
do you have Derek Carr on the roster? What is he doing for you?
Covering a bye week.
I mean, you tell me you can't go get Derek Carr or somebody better than Derek Carr, like Russell Wilson, who's top 5 in fantasy quarterback points right now. Anytime that you damn well please off of waivers. He's clogging up. It's a waste of space. I don't understand. I hate it. Sorry, go on, Ty.
All right. So you got Hopkins and McLaurin at wide receiver. Your other options are Judy or Christian Kirk. Judy was finally healthy last week, 3 receptions, 25 yards. I think I'm waiting to see Judy come back healthy before I start him.
They spread the ball a lot more than I thought they were going to last week.
And then Christian Kirk had 11 receptions for 110 yards last week. But Zay Jones also had 6 targets for no catches. And the first week, Zay Jones looked really good. So I don't know that I'm starting Kirk over McLaurin or Hopkins. I don't like Hopkins, so
yeah.
I just don't like that offense. I got Treylon Burks on my team, and it makes me nervous, but I'm not ready to drop him yet. And I don't think Hopkins is a great option. They play Cleveland, which is a good defense. McLaurin plays Buffalo, which is a good defense. Any thoughts on that wide receiver room? Kirk versus Houston. We said that Trevor Lawrence could have a good game this week. Are we considering getting Kirk in there? Are we considering playing George Kittle with a second tight end here? But you've got Gus Edwards on your flex, so I don't think we're doing that.
Yeah, I think I would play Kirk over Hopkins. I don't like Hopkins all that much at this point. Tennessee doesn't throw enough, and when they do, it's not exciting down the field touchdown throws. They have Derrick Henry. He does the bulk of the work for them, and the offense as a whole isn't great. So Hopkins is on the bench in favor of Kirk until Judy looks better.
Until I know what Judy is, I can't start him, which is tough.
Yeah. The Gus Edwards thing is weird because you've got Saquon and Aaron Jones both questionable. So you might need him as an RB, which, some of that's going to force you to figure out getting Kittle in, but Kittle plays Thursday night. I'm for sure putting Hawk over Kittle as a tight end. It's just a matter of who makes the flex and who you have to start at running back.
So here's what I would say. If Saquon and Jones are both out, Saquon's most likely out. They're saying a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think Jones will be in.
I think Jones will be in. If Jones is in, I'm starting Jones, leaving Connor and Edwards in. If both of them are out, because Paul's team has the upside with Jefferson's, Adams, Watson, Mixon, I think I would actually just put Judy in the flex and over Kittle, because Kittle's been nothing this year. So I think I would give Judy the go. Like you said earlier, Russell Wilson is going to throw the ball.
Yeah.
And if it comes down to Barkley's out, Jones is out, and you have to move Edwards into your running back slot, I think you need an upside shot because Hopkins isn't great. McLaurin is okay. If you put Kirk in for Hopkins, fine, but Kirk is going to be hit or miss this year. I think if you have all those question marks, Judy might just be another dart throw you put in and hope to get a big week. Because at some point, the floor play of Kittle right now is 3 points.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I'm assuming Aaron Jones plays, and I'm comfortable rolling out Jones, Connor, and Edwards with 2 running backs and a flex. So unless that situation doesn't resolve itself, then it's kind of a moot point. It's Cow's opinion.
I'm just saying I'd start Judy over Kittle if you got to play somebody like that in the flex.
I'm with you there. I agree.
So
Charlie, my conclusion is that his wide receivers are just a whole lot of meh.
along with his backup quarterback, along with his backup tight end, MVS.
Like you could talk me into anything, like putting Kittle at tight end and shifting Hawk in the flex. And then like we're just splitting hairs with Christian Kirk, Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not great. So I'm gonna
go with Paul. Yeah.
I'm gonna take Paul as well.
Me too, and so did Boyer.
All right. Well, glad we talked through Chris's team or Robbie's team that long for us to all just turn and say, yeah, it's gonna be Paul.
He needs the help.
Andy, back
What's
to
up?
you with Boyer versus Charlie here.
Boyer, Charlie. All right. Okay. So Boyer's. Should we talk about Breece Hall only getting 4 carries last weekend? I know that they were losing that game, but what the fuck?
Yeah, and
Sorry, YouTube.
Breece tweeted about it and was upset and then deleted his tweet. And I think that Breece is going to go in and give him a piece of his mind and be like, listen, man, I need more carries. This is bullshit.
Yeah, squeaky wheel.
And I think Saleh is going to be smart enough to do it.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook hasn't been that great. So, I mean, if you want to win games, and I think New York wants to win games, Zach Wilson's not good.
Yeah, Rodgers is going to be healthy in time for the playoffs, is what he said.
Right, you got to get there.
He had a magic surgery. I think he just wants people to not stop talking about him for a year.
He did have whatever surgery Cam Akers had, and apparently it's supposed to help heal quicker and whatever. I don't know.
Sure.
That's what I'm hearing. All right, listen.
Well, Cam Akers didn't look great after his surgery.
Yeah, he had 300-yard games when he came back. Don't start.
All right. I don't think
He's getting traded.
I don't think you're benching Breece Hall or Miles Sanders at this point. So if Kenny Gainwell is healthy playing Monday night, which means you don't know, but I guess Boyer's got both of the Bucs receivers. Are you putting Gainwell in over Godwin? Godwin's had 5 catches for 50-something yards in both of the first 2 games. Eagles coaches have said that they want to go back to Gainwell because DeAndre Swift is apparently not good at football.
I don't believe they're going back to Gainwell. It'll be a huge running back by committee until Swift takes that job over.
Well, I'm starting Swift this week, so fuck me. They're going back to Gainwell, I think, is the way that's played out so far.
Yeah, I can't see him going back to Gainwell after last week. If they do, it's a 50-50 split at best.
Yeah.
If they go full back to Gainwell, the Eagles are morons.
Yep, I agree with you there. But do you feel good about starting both Bucs receivers against Philly?
I mean, they're probably going to be down.
Yeah, I mean, your other option is starting Rashee Rice, and I'm not doing that. So
yeah, I don't think so.
He had 3 receptions the first week and 2 the second week. Like I can't start that. So yeah, I'm starting Godwin. I'm starting Evans. I'm starting them over Gainwell. Gainwell's not going to go back to a big workload.
Yeah.
I want Gainwell out of anybody. I want Gainwell to be good because I've liked Gainwell since coming out, but he's just never really had the shot.
Well, I guess this makes it easier. So it's Monday night. Looking at Charlie's team, Charlie's got Jamar Chase Monday night, but we're gonna know where this matchup stands pretty clearly. Boyer's gonna have Higgins, Evans, and whoever he plays in his flex between Godwin and Gainwell. If Boyer needs to diversify to make sure he's got opportunity for points, because anytime the Bucks throw the ball, it can only go to one or the other, right? So if Evans gets it, it's taking it away from Godwin. If Godwin gets it, it's taking it away from Evans. If Boyer needs the upside, he's got to diversify. He's got to get Godwin out of there and put Gainwell in, assuming Gainwell's healthy. So if he's digging himself out of a hole, that's the way you go. If you're protecting a lead, you probably lock in both of the Bucks receivers. Boom, done. That feel good?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I don't like that you gave him a strategy just now, but that's fine.
That's what we're here for.
Yep. We give advice and then don't listen to it. All right. Charlie is still playing Alexander Madison. Nobody knows why that would be. Metcalf has sore ribs. ETN has period cramps. I don't think either of them are at any risk of missing their games. Rashad White is in over Madison for me at running back 2. And then it's a matter of Ridley against Houston or putting Madison back in the flex. What do you think?
It comes down to Madison versus White. I'm not taking Ridley out of the flex.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is against the Chargers. It's not a bad matchup for Madison, where White versus Philly is not a great matchup. So I am actually going to lean just keeping Madison in for one more week. And I hate to say that because Madison does not look great. But I don't know how good White's going to be this week if they're playing from behind. And Philly's defense is decent. So I think I'm going to take the chance against the Chargers defense. I don't think the Chargers defense is as good as Philly.
Yeah.
If this was a PPR league, I would start Rashad White. But
sure,
because I know it's going to be Philly's going to be winning. They're just going to, I don't want to say abandon the run, but I could see this being a situation where Rashad White gets 12 carries. And I'd rather have the Alexander Madison feels like there's more touchdown equity there than Rashad White.
That's fair.
And it could be a high scoring game. I know it. I don't see this being a game where the Chargers are running away with it and Minnesota abandons the run. I could see it being like a shootout where they're both going back and forth. So I'll take my chances on the better offense helping Madison get in. So I feel pretty good about that one.
All right.
I don't feel pretty good about it, but that's what I would do.
Yeah. For what it's worth, Madison has 6 catches on the year. Rashad White has 7. So they're pretty close there. Rashad White does have 34 carries to Madison's 19.
He put up 17 last week alone, though.
And the week before.
Helps, right.
And Madison's at 19 total.
Right.
But Madison's faced good run defenses.
I was just going to say, look who Madison just faced. 8 rushes, 28 yards. That's who Rashad White is facing this week.
Yeah, it's fair.
So, yeah, I'm going to keep that. I'm going to keep it at it as is. If I'm not even if Montgomery is healthy, I don't think I'm playing him. I think I'm sticking with Madison. So,
yeah, and there's nobody else on your bench that I'm considering. So,
yeah, agreed. Juwan Johnson over Kyle Pitts.
No, because Juwan Johnson
I can't
wrap yet either.
Yeah, I wouldn't either,
Yeah.
but I had to throw it out there. All right, who you guys got in this one?
I'm going to have you guys go first.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm gonna take Boyer in this one.
Yeah. I am leaning Boyer as well. I'll go Boyer. I feel like this is one that is both of you are going to be in the upper 70s, and it's not going to be great.
That's good. Charlie will feel right at home.
Yeah, well, I have one combined point for my defense this year. So if I can at least get 2, that would be great.
Yeah, maybe work on that.
I don't feel good about it, but I'm going to take myself only because I think this is the game that Jacksonville erupts offensively. So I could see a big game for ETN and Ridley. The problem is he also has Evan Ingram. So if Ingram benefits, that could backfire. But also, Andy, can you tell Joe Burrow to throw it to my guy if he plays? If he plays.
I'll put a word in. I would love it if Burrow
Right.
and Chase started doing that thing that they do a little bit more.
I spent a lot of money on him. That would be nice if he delivered.
Hey, Charlie, between you and me, if I didn't get Bijan, I was going Chase. So I'm glad that one worked out in my favor, but it's not helping me all that much.
How nice for you.
Just keep that between you guys, though.
Yeah. Chase was my all-out guy this year. So I was like, whatever that is, I'm going for it. So the fact that he has, let's see, how many points?
Like 4.
7. 7.2.
Yeah. All right.
And who did Boyer take? Yeah.
Boyer took himself. Boyer always takes himself.
That's right. He sure does. He trusts his team. They'll be perfect in every aspect of the game. You drop the ball, you run a mile. Charlie, take us to Andy.
Where are we going?
Colin.
Andy. All right. Let's start with Colin. Kirk Cousins, apparently the top ranked quarterback in the league that Ty and I did not realize. Chris Olave.
Two chains Cousins, yeah.
Devontae Smith. Honestly, the only question mark is Eckler. If he's playing, I don't see him touching his lineup right now. If he doesn't play, I feel like he's got to go trade for a running back because his options are bad.
Please don't trade with Colin until next week.
Okay. I mean, like Roshan Johnson, I mean, he's like literally the only reason he got as much hype as he did going into week 2 is because the Bears were like, he very clearly got the fourth quarter touches against Green Bay.
Yeah, it was garbage time, but
he
did get more early touches against the Bucks.
Right. Although you could argue it's going to be a similar game script.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say it's going to be a similar game script as the Green Bay game. So
yeah, that's true too.
Roshan will get probably 6 to 8 touches, but that's not enough for me to put him in a starting lineup.
Yeah.
So,
although with what Colin's working with, it might have to be.
True.
Right.
Roshan's the only other running back on this roster right now, and if Eckler's hurt, Waddle's his flex right now. He has 3 running backs, and it's a hurt Eckler, Josh Jacobs, and Roshan Johnson. But don't worry, guys. He has Geno Smith.
He does. Holding on to 2 defenses. Geno Smith, a suspended Jamo Williamson.
This is a completely fucked up bench. Worse than even Robbie.
But he's got a second tight end too. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Andy because Andy, you have a ton of lineup decisions.
It's a problem. It's not going well, guys. Send help.
Can we start with Kadarius Toney? Because if he's not in your starting lineup, I'm gonna be pissed.
He's in my starting lineup because Ayuk's dealing with his fucking shoulder.
I said this before we hopped on, but I would honestly consider Algier over Dameon Pierce in this game.
Yeah.
And
I think if Tunsil doesn't play, I'll consider that swap. I will also consider Zach Moss, although the Ravens defense is good. But if Tunsil's out, I'll probably bench Pierce. If Tunsil's back, then I might roll with Pierce.
I'm I'm not starting Algier over Moss. I don't care that Moss is playing playing Baltimore.
Yeah.
This is coming from someone that is empathizing with you, Andy, and a Damian Pierce owner. So I feel the frustration of this.
Yeah.
Thanks. Where are we at with Brandon Ayuk? Is he playing?
He's questionable game time decision, limited participant in practice today. I mean, he was on the field in some situations after he got hurt. He had the X-rays or whatever, clavicles intact. It's just a shoulder injury. So my guess is that he plays. I don't know if I play him though, because I don't want him to be. They're playing the Giants. The Giants have looked bad. They let the Cardinals go up 21-0 on them, and then obviously the Cowboys game in Week 1 was embarrassing. So I feel like this is probably a game where Ayuk gets a breather, even if he is healthy.
Right.
Yep.
And then I'd imagine Quentin Johnston is droppable at this point and needing a backup for Burrow.
So Quentin Johnson is my stash to, if I need to drop somebody to fix my Burrow situation, then I'll do that. I could also drop Sutton if I really wanted to hold on to my lotto ticket. But
you could drop Romeo Dubs too.
Hey, Dubs had 2 touchdowns week 1 and then disappeared in week 2 when I started him.
My bad.
If he's on my bench, he's good, Ty.
All right.
Just like every other player on my team.
Oh man. All right. Did we cover them all? Did we cover all?
We got most of them.
Yeah, Kadarius Toney starting, and that's all that matters to me, and I love it.
Yep.
And on that, even without running back Austin Eckler, I'm taking Colin because Andy's starting Kadarius Toney. He will drop this week just like Tony drops the ball every other time he touches it.
Hey, he caught all 5 of his targets in week 2. It's trending up.
You're right. He caught 1 of 5 in week 1 and then 5 of 5. So he's caught just over every other. My bad.
For what it's worth, one of those other 4 was caught. Just not by him.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Yahoo has Dallas Goedert projected for 6.6 points, despite having 2 points in his first 2 weeks.
But he did have 7 targets last week, which is better than 1.
How have Yahoo's
trending up?
How have Yahoo's projections not adjusted yet?
So I feel like Yahoo's projections are incredibly low this year. A lot of teams in the 80s, which we rarely see unless it's a team who's already sold off. But also that's kind of where we've been landing the first 2 weeks. So they're not wrong, but has the league changed that much? I know week 1 was down, but I mean, even this past week, we had a couple of guys go in the 120s, but everybody else was hovering around 80s. Felt like, the median was in the 80s.
It was weird on draft day. I looked at everyone's roster projections, and it was like Travis Etienne week 1 was projected 9.5 points, and Jared Dobbins, and he was projected 12. And it was what? I mean, so I don't know what algorithm they're using. It's definitely not Andy's spreadsheet.
No, it's not. I'm go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll pick last since it's my matchup.
Okay. Honestly, this is a matchup of a lot of ifs. It's if Joe Burrow plays, if Waddle plays, if Eckler plays, if Ayuk plays. I'll go with the. I gotta go Colin. I'm sorry.
Hey,
I just
pick with your heart.
Warriors also taking Colin.
I am pretty confident that Eckler's not playing after some of the comments that have come out. There's no timeline on his return from the injury, so I assume that's not this week.
Yep.
I don't know who Colin gets in there, if it's Roshan or somebody else, but I will pick me if Burrow plays. If Burrow sits, then I'll flip it to Colin.
Luckily, Burrow doesn't
That's
matter
fine,
because
yeah.
there's other quarterbacks out there to pick up. Remember, we just talked about it.
They're all better than Burrow anyways, but I do still like Joe Burrow.
Right. All right. So with that, let's jump to the last matchup. The duo versus Mr. Fryer. The duo is got Hurts, Garrett Wilson, Keenan Allen. You're not sitting any of those guys. Tony Pollard, AJ Dillon. AJ Dillon will be our first conversation. But he's got nobody on the bench. Justice Hill. You're
Justice
not
Hill had
starting
14
Hill.
touches.
Yeah, but I'm still not starting Justice Hill over AJ Dillon. I'm still going to take the shot on Dillon.
What if Aaron Jones is back?
I still think I'm taking the shot on Dillon.
If Aaron Jones is back, I'm for sure making that switch.
Justice Hill?
Yeah. Against Indy? Yeah. Easy.
Yeah.
Well, so let's get down to his flex first, and then we can also have that conversation. So then he's got Kelsey, and he's got Smith and Jigba in his flex. Smith and Jigba has had 5 and 6 targets, so he's getting targets. He's not had a lot of yards. He's caught 3 and 5. So he's had 13 yards and 34 yards. 34 yards on 5 receptions. And he's supposed to be a field stretcher.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of concerned on what they're doing with him right now.
Yeah. I also am gonna bounce to their bench real quick and ask what they're doing with they've got handcuff stashes for other
Not their own.
teams, which like I'm not against that practice. I took Elijah Mitchell, but Elijah Mitchell's a lot better than Samaje Perine and Ty Chandler are. So I think both of those guys are droppable.
Bryce
and
Young is droppable.
Deion Jackson's probably also droppable. I don't think he played. He only was in on special teams.
Yep.
So you could drop 2/3 of your bench to get guys who might actually help your fantasy football team. But I mean, it really is down to Justice Hill versus JSN. I think I'd put Hill/Dillon in over JSN at this point, just because there hasn't been a lot of production there. If Christian Watson plays, do you immediately put him back in the lineup over whoever your less preferred running back is?
Yes. I would say if they're saying Christian Watson is healthy, if they're saying any sort of limited snap count, no. If they're saying he's healthy and he's a full go, yes, I will slot Watson in over Jason, over Justice Hill.
And I would do it over JSN and Dillon. Any issues
Fair.
with double dipping Dillon and Watson, Ty?
No, I think Green Bay's offense has been fine.
Yeah, that's fair. I just didn't know. Some people like it, some people hate it.
I mean, I don't intentionally do it, but if that's your best option, I have no problem with it.
I mean, I like it when it's Etienne and Ridley, not Dillon and Watson.
What if it's all the Ravens?
Oh, that leads us right into a Fryer.
That's a triple dip, though. All right. On that note, we'll move over to Fryer. Lamar Jackson, CeeDee Lamb, Zay Flowers, Kenneth Walker, Ramondre Stevenson, Mark Andrews, Puka Nakua, because he's a stud. Kicker and defense. This dude has Jordan Addison on the bench and Josh Kelly on the bench. Josh Kelly has an easier matchup this week in Minnesota than he had against Tennessee. But I'm not putting him in over Stevenson or Walker. So it would be, do we sit? We're definitely starting CeeDee Lamb. So it's, do we sit Zay Flowers, which had a down week 2 per se, but he still had 62 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm keeping him.
Or do you move Puka up for Zay? Do you sit Puka and put Josh Kelly in? Do you play Jordan Addison? That's been good.
I don't think I'm sitting Puka.
I think I'm sitting Addison. Like, obviously, you can't sit Puka with, I mean, so, Charlie, I'll kick you one more trivia because I already asked Ty and Boyer this one earlier. As you would expect, Puka leads the league in targets. As you might expect, I question based on how trivia went earlier. Justin Jefferson is number 2 in targets in the league this year. Now the question is, what is the difference between the number 1 Puka Nacua and number 2 Justin Jefferson through 2 weeks in targets?
I think I want to say it's like 10,
It is 10. Puka has
Yeah.
35
35 and
targets,
25.
and Justin Jefferson is second with 25. Puka's on pace for 297 and a half targets, which is completely unrealistic, but it is happening, and it has happened consistently over the first 2 weeks. So write it while you got it.
Yeah. Fryer low-key has now has a solid team if this guy hits. And now he's got Kamara coming back next week. I know he's got the collection of Ravens, but like he has the right collection of Ravens.
I agree. I think Addison's production has been like a long touchdown pass, less volume than what Zay Flowers has done. The difference between the two, numbers wise, is that Flowers doesn't have a touchdown in the first 2 games and Addison does. But I do think that I'm leaving Zay Flowers in. I like the volume that he's been getting. The yards he's been getting is just better. The touchdowns are going to be here and there for both of them.
The good thing is Indianapolis defense and the Chargers defense are both currently the worst in the league against pass. So whichever one you decide, you're banking on a nice touchdown, because both of those teams are not great against the pass. So I think you could go either way. I
mean, Zay Flowers is the top option in Baltimore. So I'd rather go him than the third option in Mini.
Oh, he's a second option behind Andrews, but either way.
Oh, well, 1A, 1B.
Right. Either way. So there's nothing else we really need to talk about on this team. Fryer's put together a solid team. Who are we taking in this matchup?
I like Fryer. I'm nervous about Stevenson at Jets, but other than that, I like all his matchups.
I'm going duo because Kelsey at Bears, or I guess at home against the Bears.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
This is matchup of the week, though. These 2 guys are going to be both strong this week.
As Andy said, Kelsey versus the Bears, but you've got Andrew against one of the most bleeding defenses to wide receiver tight end situation with the Colts too. So I'm gonna take Fryer because I don't know what Smith and Jigba, and if AJ Brown or if AJ Dillon has to split with what's his face, Aaron Jones. I think there's just slightly more holes on the duo's side, but Wilson's a stud, Allen's a stud, Hurts a stud, Pollard's good. I mean, this is a great matchup, so it should be close. I'm gonna have Fryer barely inching out the duo. Where's Boyer at?
Boyer also picked Fryer. So am I the only one that picked duo?
You sure are.
All right.
Wow.
So
there have been a lot of 3-and-1s today. Like I think I have one.
Charlie picked himself. I picked duo. I picked me as long as Burrow plays. Ty picked himself, and Charlie picked Chris. Every matchup had one dissenter except we all 4 picked Paul.
That's fair.
So, probably means Robbie wins that one.
I was just gonna say Paul probably doesn't want to hear that.
All right. Andy, you have a joke or anything prepared for us today?
I got nothing.
All right, Charlie, you have any dad jokes prepared for us today?
No, but I'm sure my dad does. But he's not here right now, so I can't steal any from him.
That's fair. All right. Well, with that,
by the way, you want to know what a great part about being on the podcast with you guys is?
You get all the insight before everybody else.
when you guys release this tomorrow, I don't have to listen.
No,
So like
that's
I've
not true,
already
'cause we need
I've-
our listens. We need our listens up. Remember,
Yeah.
like,
that's true.
subscribe,
I'll
comment,
I'll
run
I'll
it. Just run it in the
put it on in the
background.
background.
Please, repeatedly, if you could.
It's,
It helps our algorithms.
yeah. It's all about algorithms and stuff because we're going
Hey,
big time
our-
around here.
The views have been in like the 20s. Like we're getting people outside of our league.
I think our
Or-
best video has 200, so we're almost famous,
Are you
guys.
serious? Which
Yeah.
video?
We did one talking about why your dynasty league needs a trade deadline.
Oh, okay.
200, no comments, so clearly has not sparked any discord with the masses.
But they listened. And the reason that one came up is because I had a bunch of debates with random people on whether or not trade deadlines were a thing. Everybody's like, get rid of trade deadlines, get rid of trade deadlines. I'm like, fuck that noise. Trade deadlines, they're a thing. We need them, keep them.
Yep.
I'm guessing this is for the other dynasty league.
Yes. But either way,
Right,
for all
okay.
dynasty leagues, there should be a trade deadline.
Yeah. Well, now I'm curious to hear what's the argument against a trade deadline.
Well, you're gonna have to
I've
go
never
listen
heard
to
of
the
that.
podcast.
All right. You know what? That's great. That's yeah. Don't spoil
That's
it
a
here.
plug right
Go
there.
listen.
There's all sorts of other things happening around here. You might get other things. You might just
There's
get
probably a way for me to like link that one right here.
There's like a banner
I'm not
drop
gonna do that.
All right. On that, I'm getting out of this podcast. We're leaving as the host. We're signing off. We'll see you guys next week. Enjoy week 3. Jeremy, your team sucks. We're out.